Welcome to my views and news. Some news stories from Ethiopia and Eritrea. Firstly, several viewers contact me in comment section as well. They ask questions about Eritrean involvement, if any, in the ongoing civil war in Sudan. They say, Sajid, you were implying that Eritrea could be involved. So, what is the situation? Is there any evidence of the involvement of Eritrean government in Sudanese conflict? Secondly, what was happening to Tigrayans a year ago is now happening to Amharas. Prisons are now full of Amharas, it seems. New prisons are being created, makeshift prisons reportedly. Thirdly, Somali region of Ethiopia, where grouping is being seen within Prosperity Party. Mustafa Omar is trying to keep the party united, but he is facing internal challenges. He wants to remove some ministers and Prosperity Party officials reportedly. Firstly, viewers, Eritrean government, does it have any role in the ongoing Sudanese conflict? I don't know about the role, actual on the ground presence of Eritrean intelligence agents, Eritrean military in Sudanese conflict. But I monitor Eritrean pro-government media. I monitor Eritrean government's statements. I monitor statements, speeches of Eritrean diplomats. That is how I try to understand government's position about a specific issue. Of course, we have no tangible evidence to say that Eritrea is militarily involved in the Sudanese conflict. But Hamati visited Eritrea a few months ago. That visit alone is not a piece of evidence that Eritrea is militarily involved in Sudan. Though I believe that when Hamati visited Eritrea, Ethiopia, Russia, basically he was trying to take these powers on board. I think he was planning back then what is happening now in Sudan. Maybe he discussed the coming events in Sudan with Eritrean, Ethiopian, Russian leaders. But if you monitor Eritrean pro-government activists, I know them, by the way. I know their pro-government news outlets too, social media outlets too. I know almost all of them. If you monitor their reporting, all of them are supportive of rapid support forces. I read comments, I respond to comments. Those who were critical of TPLF are now supportive of RSF. Those from Eritrean community. Eritrean government silent. Not a single statement from Eritrean Information Ministry. Yamana Gabramaskal does not waste any opportunity when it comes to criticizing the West, US, international media, Russia, not Russia, US, Western powers. But here, he has gone quiet. He has not a word to say about what is happening in Eritrean neighborhood in Sudan. And Eritrea is not giving any coverage to Sudanese conflict, just a few news reports. Otherwise, silence. Eritrean diplomats, silent. Why? Obviously, Eritrean government is supportive of Hamath's position. But Eritrean government does not want to be seen as a supporter of Hamathi. Or the government believes that Hamathi does not have a real chance to take over. That is why government is silent. But I personally think Eritrean government, Eritrean pro-government media, Eritrean ambassadors, their silence, some of their statements indicate that the Eritrean government is on Hamath's side. So far, it is moral support. It has not turned into military support or intelligence support like we're seeing from other countries, from where Hamathi is receiving some support. Eritrea, Ethiopia largely providing moral support, especially Eritrea. Ethiopia has other issues as well, GERD, etc. So it has to be very careful in terms of its support for Hamathi or Burhan. That is how I understand Eritrean position on this war. Secondly, what was faced by Tigrayans in Ethiopia is being faced by Amharas. After 2020 war, we saw that Tigrayans were put in prisons in large numbers. Anyone who was suspected of having links to TPLF was arrested. Girls, boys, men, women, students, elderly, children, all were arrested back then. Thousands were arrested, civilians, not combatants. Those who were allegedly supporting TPLF, they were arrested. Though some of them were involved in humanitarian work, arrested. Thousands arrested, some are still in prisons. Tigrinya-speaking members of Ethiopian National Defense were arrested too. They were not combatants. They were members of ENDF, but they were suspected, or it was feared they could support TPLF. Same is happening to Amharas now. Almost on daily basis, we're receiving reports about arrests of people who support Amhara position on issues, who are from the Amhara region. 10 journalists arrested this month so far. Yesterday, I reported about the arrest of Ashara media manager, about some arrests in Bahirdar. And today, Amhara Development Association head has been arrested. His name is Menbero Avedeo. So it's a daily occurrence now that on daily basis we're receiving reports of arrests of Amhara activists, intellectuals, journalists, student leaders. And reportedly, building of Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs has been turned into a prison. Because prisons are filled with prisoners. There is no space there. That is why a makeshift prison has been set up. Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs building is now serving as makeshift prison, housing mostly ethnic Amharas. You see that Tigrayans face the same which Amharas are facing now. It will keep on happening. Problem is that when Tigrayans were suffering, no one was condemning the suffering of Tigrayans. Now when Amharas are suffering, Tigrayans are saying, you are reaping what you tried to sow. So it means that this cycle will go on. After a few years, maybe another ethnic group could be the target of similar state action. These crops, these people, these regions will have to sit. And by the way, ruling elite does not suffer. Always masses suffer. Masses suffered in Tigray, masses suffering in Amhara. Ruling elite standing with PP is ruling. But those who are in lower positions, they are suffering. Lastly, viewers, Somali region of Ethiopia, where Prosperity Party is the ruling party, Mustafa Umar is the president of the region. Mustafa Umar is faced with internal challenges from some ministers, party officials too. A few days ago, he wanted to remove and replace some top cabinet members and the Prosperity Party officials, regional officials, but he could not. And now we're seeing again grouping within the party, within the regional cabinet. Reportedly, he wanted to remove two ministers, Muhammad Fatah and Hassan Dadi. And he wanted to remove Muhammad Kumar, head of Prosperity Party's political affairs, and some deputy ministers as well. They were on the list for removal. But he could not remove them. The plan was leaked. Now we're seeing continuation of grouping within Prosperity Party and within the regional cabinet. Working of the government is seriously disturbed. Mustafa Umar might make some decisions in coming days to reshuffle his cabinet. That is on the cards, reportedly. Thank you for watching.